Okay, I'm just gonna say, welcome to Almost a Podcast. This is Sean, and I have with me Colton and Michael.
What's up?
The standard lads.
The standard lads.
The standard.
Are
We're
we
just
not?
standard.
Well, I mean, you guys are regulars at this point, you know.
Yeah, regulars to the show. Happy to be a guest here.
Yep.
Good to have you on, guys.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
I was saying how I'm like, I would say I'm probably like 85 to 90%, because I woke up with like a slight sore throat, and in today's day and age, it's like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
It's
I'm
Rona.
gonna die, yeah.
If that happens.
Everyone.
But
yeah.
But overall, still feeling good. But it brought me back because I wanted to talk about, like, if there's any moments you guys thought you were going to die. Like,
Legitimately thought I was going to die.
Have you had any near-death experiences?
Gosh.
Because I know I have.
That's
have
a
too.
lot.
Or at least it felt
I'm gonna
like.
have to really take it back to see if I feel like I've almost died before.
Well, okay, so I'll start because I had something right in mind.
Okay.
In relation to sickness. I mean, we were definitely friends at this point when I was in college, but I believe it was junior year, maybe sophomore year. It was one of the two. Definitely wasn't senior year. Where I was just in my room and in my dorm room, and I woke up just like feeling like death. Like I was totally fine the previous day.
Mm-hmm.
The next day I woke up and I just like could not move. Like literally, I was on my bed. And I think it was lofted. I couldn't move.
And you're like, is this what death?
Like,
is this like how
struggled?
People... Yeah.
I like struggled to get up, like, and check my phone. Like, I felt so weak and like unable to move that I checked the phone and I'm like, I can't do anything today. Luckily, it was like a weekend. I think. So I didn't have any classes. I want to say I had a 3-day weekend at that point for how my classes lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it was a Friday. I didn't have classes. I wake up like that, and I'm like, screw it. I just went back to bed. I think I slept the whole day. And then like 10 hours later, I got up. I woke back up. I'm like, oh, I need to eat something.
Yeah,
luckily, I had
nutrition.
a banana in my room. So I like struggle down my ladder of the bed, get a banana, eat that, go right back to sleep for another like 12 hours.
What the heck?
And this is one of the weirdest experiences of my life because I rarely get sick, and when I do, it's never really bad. So when this happened, I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do anything.
Right.
I just couldn't move. I don't think I was like it wasn't drinking related. Like I hadn't had any alcohol for like a month at this point. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so weird. I remember I had to go to class. Like Monday rolled around. I was still feeling bad by Monday,
Mm-hmm.
but I had like made a venture to the cafeteria at this point.
Yeah.
So I went
Getting
there,
out.
had some orange chicken, and then like shuffled back to my room and collapsed. And that was an effort. That was a monumental effort to do that. And I wouldn't have gone to class, but I had a math quiz.
Oh,
and
the quizzes,
I wasn't
the
doing
weekly
too hot
quizzes.
in math, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought if I don't go to this quiz,
I'm gonna
it
fail.
will not be good. Like,
yeah.
it would be better to go there and fail than it would be to not
Just
show up at all. You know?
Have a zero. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, gosh darn it. So it was semi-winter times, pretty cold, but no snow.
Mm-hmm.
So I was walking to class, and I would say it's probably a mile from Hubbard to one of the math buildings. It wasn't like the primary math building; it was one of the engineering buildings.
Yeah, going from like the East Campus to South Campus almost. Kind of.
And so I walked there about a mile and a half, and dying, absolutely dying. My calves were on fire.
Man.
I don't know what was going on with my body, but like every muscle I was using was just like saying, stop, go to bed.
Like collapse
I
now.
get to the thing.
Go to sleep.
I get to class. I take the quiz. Don't remember what I got. Don't remember what I did. And then everyone leaves the room, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't move. Like I can't go back. I can't walk back. So luckily it was right next to the bus station, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I shuffle over there, get on the bus. I'm like, I think this is the right bus.
I didn't even
I'm
know.
like on the bus. Yeah, I know. I couldn't, like, I was not in a good state of mind to figure it out. And then I get there, I'm on the bus, I think on the right line, sit in the thing, and then I just pass out in that chair in the bus. I think I went around the whole thing twice, at least once. Finally wake up, get to my stop, go back to bed, and I think pass out for another day. And then after that, I felt like pretty fine. Like after that,
That's funny.
it was over almost as quickly as it started.
I'm trying to think in my memory if there was ever a time I texted you and you just didn't respond for like 3 days. That's what
I don't
was
think
happening.
I told anybody that I was dying. I think everyone just
Sounds like
oh, come on,
frightening.
like, our friends were like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" I'm like, not feeling too probably gonna pass. But I didn't explain to anybody the extent to which I felt not okay.
Yeah.
Which is probably not the right move. Oh my god, it was one of the weirdest experiences in my life to date, I think.
I don't remember you ever telling me this.
Yeah.
This is new information.
No, I
for
never
us.
told you guys about this?
No, I don't think so. This is wild.
I felt like death.
What is that?
It was terrible.
That's crazy. I mean, I felt like death, but it only lasts a day. And I can't sleep like 24 hours straight. You said you were asleep like 12 hours at a time, just like blipping in
That's
and out of
nuts, man.
reality,
Yeah.
staying alive in math
I don't
class.
know what happened. If anyone knows what the heck happened to me, please, tell me.
Yeah, like
Just
comment or something.
Patient
Send us
zero
an email or
of
something.
coronavirus right there.
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah,
3 years
like 3
before,
years before it
but
started.
yeah.
Yeah. Were you better on Tuesday then? Much better on Tuesday?
That sounds about right.
Like, you got, like-
I definitely didn't go to. I think the math thing. I had a couple classes that day. The math one was the only one I went to,
Mm-hmm.
and then I kind of just. I was okay
Sure.
enough to go out the following day. So
Yeah.
Isn't it funny though how it is like that, where you just wake up the next day and you just
And
like,
you're
feel
just-
great? I feel like that's every single time like I have like a fever or any kind of
Yeah.
like sickness that does bring that on. Like you get like a bad flu or anything like that. Literally perk up all of a sudden after it's like
Yeah.
at the very end of it. Just
Yeah, it's
like,
wild.
Oh, I got a bunch of energy now. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hungry. I want to get out.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like my strategy for overcoming sickness is eat healthy things like, I don't know, chicken noodle soup, something that's very balanced that has a lot of stuff the body likes,
You say as you went to
and then just go to sleep for like 12 hours.
As you went
and
to
then
the cabin,
then you
ate-
feel great.
as you went to the cafe and ate orange chicken for the one meal.
I
Sometimes you need the
Dude,
protein. Sometimes you need the
I
protein.
couldn't. I was barely figuring out anything up there. I was struggle.
Yeah.
I could barely finish the meal. I was like, oh my god, I can't eat this. Like sitting there staring at my food. Like take me like 40 minutes to eat this.
I'm
thing.
surprised no one like noticed you. It came out was like, "Oh, are you okay?" Tried to reach you.
Yeah,
Like,
sir,
Yeah.
you look like death. Do you need help?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
So that's one of my, I feel like, near-death experiences.
gosh. Okay, so this isn't a near-death experience, but this was an incredible stupid experience. Remember when you were a kid and you're learning how to ride a bike?
All right. Okay.
Do you guys remember that memory? Do you remember?
Yeah,
So like,
Yeah.
I remember learning.
man, you start with the training wheels, right? And I was starting to get the hang of it. I was like, cool. I think I can go to the bicycle instead of the tricycle or whatever. So I started doing that.
Take out the training wheels.
Wasn't that bad. I was actually pedaling, but like I wasn't able to go very fast because I was like I would get scared, right? I'd start and I'd go for a little bit. I'm like, oh shit, okay, pedal, like get my feet down, walk with my feet, walk the bike. I'm like, oh shit. But where I lived
Yeah.
when I was a kid, when I was riding this bike, learning how to ride a bike, is I lived at the top of a hill in this cul-de-sac thing. So I said, I'm gonna go to the top of the hill, and then I can't stop. I'll just be steady.
Smart,
My dad
yeah.
went up with me. He actually encouraged this. He said, yeah, we can do this. This is
Oh,
a great
no.
idea. So he went with me. We go to the top of the hill. We go. I'm fine for like the first like 3 seconds. My dad's running to keep up with me, but slowly I start outpacing him, and this is when I got scared.
This is the moment he realized, wait,
My dad's
this might
sprinting.
not be a good
My
idea.
dad is sprinting, trying to keep up with me, and I'm just flying past him. I'm slowly gaining on him. And then I realized my mistake. I'm going way too fast for comfort. So guess what I do?
Just
I don't. I
Hit the front brake.
I intentionally jump off the bike
what?
instead of stop. No, I'm not kidding.
At this
instead of
moment, he
hitting the
knew
brake,
he fucked up.
I literally
He's messed.
took I was on the bike, and I literally just like I tried to jump off. Like I thought that would be the case.
Was there grass or was it just straight concrete?
It was concrete. Yeah, I did not.
God.
I think when I was a kid, you know, I feel like I'm going a lot faster than I actually am. Like that memory feels very fast to me, but I only like scraped up my knee, and my dad just picked me up and carried me to our house and like got me cleaned up.
We're not doing that again. We're going inside.
But like,
don't tell your mom.
That was one of the memories where I was like, holy, like fear. Just one of the biggest moments of fear that I had. And I like dealt with it in the worst way. Like if I ever get into a life or death situation, am I just gonna go run at the person in this like that I'm against or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just very odd. I think back to that and I'm just like, how did I ever think that was a good idea? What a strange thing.
Like in your fight or flight situation, you're like, I'm out.
I'm out, but I'm also like, let's run it in the direction of the gunner. Like, let's go towards him.
Do you guys have any actual like true like near death experiences, like where you were like, okay, I am 100% like there's a good chance I want to die, like an 80% chance I'm about to die right here?
I've never had something where I truly was going to die. I don't think so, at least.
I thought I had one moment where I either was going to die or I was going to be severely injured, and probably die.
Die in the hospital.
Climbing?
I almost fell off a mountain one time.
Where?
So story time. I was hiking in Rocky Mountain National Park, and I was on a road trip back to my house during the summertime, I believe. Although there was a lot of snow on the mountain, so I think that's probably winter time. Can't say for sure.
I don't know, man. In the Rockies,
I know I was coming back. I know I was going from Michigan to California.
Mm-hmm.
So
you stopped in the Rockies.
That's kind of all I know.
Right.
And I was going on a hike, and I was with a friend, and we were deciding how are we going to, like, which hike are we going to do? We're here for the day, essentially. We had a camping site, and then we're going to do a day hike and then leave the next day. So we decide let's do a full day hike. So you would start at the bottom, and it's a whole loop. So I believe it was going to be 12 to 16 miles, which is very doable in a day. But there's some fresh snow, and there's a lot of snow at the top of the mountain. So it went up pretty high. I think there was like 3,000 feet of elevation gain.
Okay.
Wow.
From our start up to the top and then back down, essentially.
That's a hike.
So yeah, but at that time I was a big hiker guy. So
peak condition.
I felt we could do it. We get going up. We get about midway, maybe a little less than midway, and the trail just kind of disappears.
Oh, love that.
It's enough snow where the signs just disappear, and all the tracks that are there are from skiers.
Oh.
So you'd start following a track, and then it would just disappear. So you would get lost. We had to backtrack several times.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And then eventually we decided, you know what? We like the sun was coming down, or not coming down, but it was past noon, and we're like,
we don't even know where we are.
We could either go on forward and probably get lost, or turn back and just go back the way we came. We decided to do that.
Good.
And come on back. So on the way back, we came across this ledge. I don't know how best to describe this. So we came across this ledge that we had already passed, right? We had already come up this way.
Yeah.
But that was in the morning when it was cold. And this is now later in the day when the sun's been out for a while.
A little
and
warmer.
It's not cloudy today.
Okay.
So the snow has been loosening up a bit and getting a little wetter.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, how steep would you say that is in degrees? I mean, that's 90, so this is probably
70.
If that's 45,
that's 70,
50,
80.
Probably 50 degrees, 50 to 60 degrees was the mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a flat trail.
Okay.
But that flat trail was completely not iced, but snowed over. So there's a snow trail about 5 feet above that trail.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that ice trails, trails on the side of mountains like that are usually pretty shallow, so no more than like 3 to 4 feet wide.
Right. Yeah. Very tight.
Yeah. So,
Walking along.
and it's no problem when there's no snow.
Right.
But we were coming back, snow was getting wet, and I remember this because it was on top of being extremely freaky. I was telling myself about the problem as it happened. So I got my hiking poles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see this ledge, and I'm talking to my friend, and I go, okay, so we gotta look out because it's this like the exact same problems I'm talking about. The snow's been melting and everything. And as I'm saying that, my foot goes through the trail, like to my knee, I would say. I just stop
Through the
I'm
trail.
like, okay. And I was gonna say, I was like jokingly gonna say, be very careful, and then I slipped again, but like a little bit past my waist.
Wait.
So
Wait.
I was like, what?
Oh, you said you stepped into the trail, like into a bunch of snow.
Yeah.
Like you stepped
And
and,
then
you
it's
just
like-
kept going down.
It had been like melting, so it just kind of it was destabilized. So as I set foot on it again, my foot just went right through the snow,
Oh.
and it's like out the edge.
Oh,
it's still
so
like
you
that steep of an angle.
You stepped where there wasn't a trail anymore because you couldn't see.
No, there was a trail to my eyes, but
Yeah.
when I stepped on it, there wasn't enough support in the snow, so it just kind of kicked out down the mountain.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that
if
makes
I was
sense.
like walking the trail, I stepped near the edge,
You were really
so then
close
it
to the
kicked
edge.
out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not that wide, 3-4 feet.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So and as I'm saying, jokingly, oh, I've got to be very careful. I slipped again up like a little bit past my waist. So I'm like, one of my legs is now like definitely off the trail, and this is my left leg still like in the snow.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I had to take a real long couple seconds to just kind of steady myself. And luckily I had the pole on my hand. So I was able to kind of like jam it as far to the left into the mountain as I could.
Right. Secure
I'm
spot.
just like, oh boy. So I slowly, extricate myself from that situation. I get have to go just almost full left up
Right.
and then back onto the trail. And looking back, there's this gap in the trail now. And my friend's like, well, what am I going to do? I blew it out. And I just remember looking back and seeing how like steep, and especially being at snow, if I had, lost balance, I wasn't recovering until hitting a tree,
Way down
like
there.
500 feet down,
yeah.
down the way. Because we were still very high up at this point. So that was definitely one of my moments where I thought, if I slip, I'm gonna get seriously injured here.
Yeah.
If not, and there's no trail down there, so
You have to.
if
call
I get
for
injured
help.
enough where I can't move, then I am screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotta get
So-
hell lifted.
That's like freaky. It's weird. In the moment, you probably weren't too scared. You were like, "All right, business time. Put the pole in. Let's get back." That's like weird to
Yeah.
think about,
I mean,
though.
I'm usually pretty good in a panic situation because I just get calm enough to deal with it. In the sense, like I wasn't panicking in the sense that I'm gonna fall and die.
Yeah.
I was adrenaline started rushing because I'm like, I need to deal with the situation and not fall off.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out how to get out. Because that was probably one of the top ones I've had
Wild.
in my life.
Yeah, if it was me, I would have just been like, "All right, we're gonna do a full force
You would
jump."
have just jumped
Just
off
gonna
the
jump, and then I would jump at the angle opposite that I needed, and be like, "Oh shit!"
He pushed off the mountain.
Yeah.
Have I told you the boat story?
Yes, that is actually a
I feel like-
near-death experience as well.
I
Holy
guess you
shit.
may
I feel
not.
like you may have, but
Okay.
tell it again.
Yeah, tell it again.
I feel like I did this. I think it was freshman year because we were out, in that area. So my dad bought when I was younger. I think I was around 12. He bought a, like an old sailboat, but a bigger one, a 26 footer. So
Cool.
like something you can actually like sleep in and stuff like that, right? We used it kind of as like a little cabin, if you could say that. Got it really cheap, and it's like, oh, cool, it's good.
That's
a little
cool.
project boat, right?
Like, yeah, like side
So
hobby, you think.
had it for a couple of years, and then it was the year I was 14. Summer I turned 14, and I was like, all right, we need to do like a cool trip. And so
Okay.
Go on a
it
trip.
was actually going to be Father's Day, because we were like, oh, we need to do something for Father's Day. So we decided that we're going to take, he took 3 weeks off of work, and we're going to go on a sail all the way up to Traverse City, and maybe even beyond, right? We're like, all right.
From where?
From Muskegon. So that's kind of
Okay.
lower, middle of the lower peninsula.
So that's like a good couple 100 miles, right?
Yeah, it's a
far
long
ways
trek.
away.
It'd take a week at least just to get up to Traverse City. And remember, this is a sailboat, right? So we don't have the luxury of, being under power. You have to go with the wind. If the wind is terrible, the wind's
Sucks.
terrible.
You're sitting out for the day.
Yep.
Exactly. So we started a couple days before Father's Day. We started to trek out. It's beautiful for like the first couple hours, and then exactly what I was talking about earlier, dead wind, nothing.
Ooh.
So we were just going along on our little tiny motor. It's a little 1-cylinder 17 horsepower diesel. I mean, the thing could run the entire year and not drain the tank, which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
You're not going
not
very
that
fast.
exactly,
Yeah.
you're going about 4 knots on that. So that's about 5 miles an hour.
Nice. Speedy.
Yeah. And so we're going along that.
Luxury.
And during that time, especially in the middle of the day, you start getting like flies and just like gnats and stuff like that coming at you, because like you're this big white boat in the middle of this big lake, the only spot to rest for miles around, right? So
Right.
oh, that was nasty. You just had the fly swatter just sitting out there, just almost like wearing rain
Smacking
jackets in 90, almost 100-degree heat.
Oh, no.
Because you have to just like keep yourself. But yeah, so had to deal with that for almost 2 days, and then get to towards Sleeping Bear. I think this is the third day we start passing a Sleeping Bear on our way to the Manitou Islands, which are 2 small islands off the coast in Lake Michigan. So we're like, all right, perfect. Father's Day on South Manitou Island. How awesome is that? And it was actually really nice, just sitting on the boat anchored in this beautiful bay.
That's so cool.
Part of that area, right? Just I think we're eating summer sausage, just like random shit, right? That lasts forever, since we're going to be gone for a while, right?
Yeah, it probably feels like the Caribbean with that kind of heat. Like,
yeah,
it feels like you're at near the equator.
Could you see the shore at all, like the shore of Michigan, or were you just far out enough where you couldn't see it?
Oh no, I mean in South Manitou, you're in like this protected inlet kind of thing, and traversing.
The coast.
Yeah, we always we're within sight of the shore. Sometimes we're close by, sometimes we're like pretty far out, like we're just at the horizon. But we always want to maintain that that sight of shore. It's not like we're crossing. So going up along the shoreline, and South Manitou, awesome. But the next day after South Manitou, it was crazy. A storm had rolled through. So
The storms are coming.
right, it was like the Edmund Fitzgerald. If you ever heard that song? No, it wasn't actually too bad. There's like only 5-footers, 6-footers.
Those
which
could
is
be
still
big.
for a smallish boat.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
That's some
From like,
rocking.
from like
sure.
surfing perspective, that's big. It feels big to me on a surfboard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So took that, and we cut across to the other side. I think it was Leland, and we were like, all right, we need to cut across. So we started going up past like Sleeping Bear and such. And that was just a long trip, because we couldn't had like the mainsail up, and it was long, just under power with the mainsail and the motor, crazy whipping winds and just crazy waves, right? I'm pretty good about like seasickness, but after that it was it was a bit rough. So we're like, all right, we'll rest up for the day in Leland and Port, and warm up and feel better and continue on up north, right? So like, all right, we'll head up. So what we didn't do is check the weather for the next day. Well, actually, no, never mind. We did check the weather, and there was supposed to be a storm that was going to go really south, big one too, hitting around like Milwaukee area. And we're like,
Okay.
all right, cool, we'll miss it since we're heading north, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we head out early in the morning, right? Gorgeous and good wind, right?
Nice.
So we've got both sails going, and when you got both
You're full
sails going,
speed ahead.
yeah, we're pulling
Yeah.
about probably 11 or 12 knots at that point.
Oh,
with
sick.
both, you've got, so it's the main sail on the ship, and you also with the Genoa sail, which is like that big sail that at the front of the ship that kind of pulls it along, almost like a wing.
Okay.
So we're pulling, and we got a good angle going. Anyone who's sailed before knows exactly what I'm talking about. Going along, and then that storm turns out overnight it came north.
It said psych.
I'm in
Yep.
danger.
And so we're heading out, and we all of a sudden, okay, it's getting a little rough. Those are some rough clouds, right? But it was coming fast, and we were still going full tilt when like the big winds hit. And when I say big winds, after we got, they're pulling about 70-mile-an-hour gusts. So this is like hurricane level storm on on the Great Lake, right? Like
20
Truly a
foot
Caribbean experience.
yeah, exactly. So that with both sails out, right, we went whoop, and I still recall seeing the keel coming out of the water as we get laid.
And that's the
on
very
ground.
bottom of the boat.
Exactly,
the
right.
part.
And it's the heaviest part, right? It's meant to balance out the weight of that. So when you see the keel coming out of the water, you're like, oh shit, because this boat was probably at about an 80-degree angle.
Oh shit! So you
well,
guys
that means
were
you were. I
tipping
mean,
hard.
we were hanging. Or were you hanging, or what were you
Yeah.
doing?
So when it started picking up, we're like, all right, get wetsuits on and get life jackets going. Fortunately, we had just enough time before it really started picking up, right? But we still had the Genoa out, and when that wind hit, it pulled us over. And you're right, I clipped in onto like just one of the side railings, right? And I'm literally hanging off as we're still moving forward. Under power because we got both sails, and we're both wrestling like the sails, right? Trying to release. My dad has his like hand jammed in the Genoa trying to get that thing released, and fortunately there's like this beautiful little blip in the
In the winds.
in the winds, yeah, just like this almost like ray of light coming down
The high of the storm.
it probably was, right? And it just for a second and allowed us to release that Genoa. But oh my gosh, at that point when I was hanging off on for dear life, seeing the keel raise on there, I'm like, all right, if we if this boat tips over, I'm not going to make it. If it goes any bit, right, because the keel's going and go up, and I'm not going to make it. And that was probably the closest I've come to like
I mean, it
certain
sounds
death.
That sounds.
for
I mean,
sure.
that's like. So the keel. When you said you released the keel, right?
At least
No,
the
the
Genoa.
Genoa.
So
The Genoa.
basically
the Genoa.
that strong, that super powerful sail, right? That's pulling us along. We were able to get that finally released when there was like kind of a lull in the wind for a little bit, and that was able to right us back up. Our main was still still up though, and that took us a while to get down. But the Genoa, at the end of that, our boat was toast though. Like the Genoa, we had to just release it, right? So the thing's just flapping around, literally. And this is like military grade. What's it called? I forget the name of
sail.
The sails. Like this is made of material that is just extremely durable, right? It's meant to withstand, thousands of pounds of force, and the thing just tore itself to shreds. Same thing with some of our lines. Some of our lines had snapped due to the forces on the boat.
It's crazy.
It was nuts.
This
Fortunately,
is like when.
Yeah.
It's like when Forrest Gump comes back after the storm, the only boat to still live.
Yeah,
You're
Lieutenant
"We made it
Dan.
back."
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's kind of like that. And I mean, obviously with a sailboat, you are at the mercy of the wind, and all it has to offer. But yeah, that was an experience. Fortunately, then the guy, the port master at Leland, he was like, "Hey, I got you, man. You guys can like stay here for a couple days, free of charge," which was nice of him. so we can fix up our boat and
Yeah.
get lines and stuff like that. But that was
How old were you at that time?
I think it was 14, if I recall correctly.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez,
so it was pretty nuts.
if that happened to me, I would like never want to be on a boat again. I'd be like, I'm hanging off the sailboat. I'm like, no, thanks, never
Yeah.
again. Jesus.
That's one of those things that I mean, maybe you think differently, but in hindsight, it must have been really cool to experience and given you like a lot of appreciation
Yeah.
for maybe life.
Yeah,
For life,
definitely.
But you never want to do it again, of course. But one of those things you look back and go, "Wow, I made it through that."
Yeah,
I don't know how what you got from that, but that's what I think.
no, definitely. It would definitely give me a certain appreciation for living. Like, oh shit.
Every near-death experience is a cool story, unless you die.
Right?
Yep.
That's why they call it near death and not
yeah.
death.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's some cool deaths out there.
Yeah.
Just imagine like trying to climb El Capitan and it's like, oh shit. Well,
See
but
ya.
also free
Yeah.
solo. I mean,
For every famous free soloer, there's probably a lot more that you're not going to hear about again.
yeah.
Mhm.
Jeez.
Crazy.
Yeah, that
So-
was my kind of near death experience. And then we run into some unidentified or unmarked rocks on our way back.
Oh, great.
Obviously we came back from Leland. We're like, all right, we're done with this trip. We got to head back.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we turn
we're
it
not
back.
We're
doing
gonna
this.
tuck tail and kind of just like limp back, right? And then we hit some rocks and that was another whole event. It wasn't so near death, but that was interesting.
Yeah.
Especially when when we first hit those rocks on the way back, I was sitting in like the main kind of cabin area and I got flung all the way to like the bedroom area for the front of the boat. So I was like, I got flung about 7 feet from like just the
Wow.
impact. Yeah.
That'll break
That was,
some bones if you land wrong.
Was it
Yeah.
a wooden boat or was it what?
It's
what type of
fiberglass
frame
and then
was it?
wood.
Fiberglass. Okay,
So
gotcha. Dang, that's crazy.
It's wild. Man, I have such not near-death experiences compared to both of those. I am pretty sure. One time, oh shoot, can I actually explain this? I don't know if I'll get in trouble if I explain this.
what do you mean? Like, are you under oath? You have to like keep it secret? This is some
I'm not
CIA
under oath.
stuff?
It's not some sort of legal thing. Basically, I'll just go ahead and say it. We can cut it out later if we don't want to do it. Basically, one time I was with some friends, and this wasn't a near-death experience, by the way, but at the time I thought I was going to die. And
Okay.
we were like, this was high school, and we were out at like 2 a.m. So we all snuck out because it was like fun. We were like, we're going to sneak out. So we did that. And then we all had our own cars, like our shitty cars. And we're like, let's go to this guy's house.
High school cars.
Yeah, this guy. We'll go to this one guy's house. So we were all caravanning all the way to this guy's house. And this guy's house, before you get there, it's in the far country, and it's got like a 5-mile straightaway in the country at 2 a.m. at night. So we're like, let's all see how fast our cars can go.
Oh
Woo!
no!
So we all floor it, and we all are going way over 100 miles an hour in the pitch dark. This is in like a rural area too, so deer could just pop out whenever.
Yep.
Oh my
Obviously.
God.
Dumbass idea. Dumbass. Don't do this, kids. Don't do that shit. It's really shitty. But I was also really tired. So I'm just going. I'm like, I'm getting kind of tired.
Colton.
120. Let's see if we can get 120. And all of a sudden, something happened where I was looking straight, and it might have been a little sprinkly or something, but there's a very slight hill where I can see over it most of the way, but can't see fully over it. And when I see the hill, all of a sudden, like my brain, my eyes see just a wall, like a forest. Like I was driving into a forest. Like for a straight second, for an instant, I thought I was flying 120 miles an hour into a forest. I slam on the brakes, my tail kind of comes out. I don't like fall in a ditch, but I like just slow down to like 55 or whatever, right? Sure. And I'm just sitting there like, I literally thought I was going to die. Like I thought I was somehow on the straightaway. I just missed the exit, missed the turn. I was flying into a forest.
Did you slow down after that?
Yeah, I didn't go fast after that. And then everyone behind me is like, why are you going so slow? And I'm like, I thought I died. Like I thought I just literally died. I think in another parallel universe, I did miss the turn and I just flew into the trees or something.
Yeah,
Gosh.
you just saw like an
I,
alternate reality.
Yeah, I
right
just
there.
Final
connected
Destination
with
shit
my
right there.
infinite other selves and slowed down.
Wow.
That was so.
I've never done like. Sorry.
I was gonna tie it up. It was such a weird experience where, like, literally, I just like saw something. It was just because I was tired. Going that fast and being tired is not good. Hopefully, we can talk about. Hopefully, I can keep that in on the podcast because that'd be cool. But I don't know if I'll get in trouble for that. For admitting I went way over.
I've never gone like fast in a car. I think maybe the fastest I've ever gone was 90 miles an hour.
What?
Yo, that's so weak.
We gotta change this.
No,
yeah, we can easily. I'll
I
take
am
you 100
perfectly
easy.
fine going at a very slow pace. Like my current car, I can't go fast at all. It's like impossible. But the car I
that's
had
fair.
before in high school, I was probably able to go to like I think the speedometer went to like 160 or something like that. Whereas my current car, the speedometer goes to 120.
Yeah.
But in the high school car, I was coming down a mountain, pretty straightaway mountain shot somewhere in the middle of America, and on a road trip. And I'm like, well, the gravity's do most of the work. How fast do I go? And I hit like 90, and the car starts like shaking. And I'm like,
Like,
all right, that's it. I'm not going
waters.
faster than that. And I slowed down. But yeah, I have no desire to go fast, and I have never had that like situation happen. You know, where like kids are racing at night.
Yeah.
Never.
Honestly, after that experience, I was kind of like, I don't know if I need to go fast anymore. Like, it's cool, but I'm gonna keep that for like a closed area, maybe a track or just an
track
area where
would
it's
be cool.
controlled.
I go fast on a track.
But
yeah, I did have another near-death experience I remembered as well.
Another one?
So I have two near-death experiences from when I was a kid. One was like legit. The other one, you could argue if it was near death. I'll say the one that you could argue first, which is I was watching TV in my living room. I was watching Rugrats.
Nice.
And I was sub 10. I was in like preschool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I have the Christmas photos to prove this because it happened right around Christmas. I was sitting cross-legged in front of the TV, pretty close. And this was a projection TV, you know, back in the day when TVs had, you know, tube TVs.
Yep.
And this thing, I don't know how big this was. Probably like a 30-something, 40-something inch TV. Pretty big for the time.
Yeah.
But it weighed probably close to 250 pounds.
Yeah, those old
you know?
TVs are beasts, behemoths.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was sitting pretty close, cross-legged, and
Of course.
I'm sitting there, and my dad comes up, and he goes to get something on, like, there's this home entertainment center, right, the cabinet and everything, and he goes to get something that's on a higher shelf, and he steps on the shelf the TV is on.
Yeah.
And so he stands on that, gets up, and then that shelf breaks, and this TV comes crashing towards me, and
Yeah.
it comes by, and it scrapes down my nose, like my forehead and nose, and misses my legs. So I'm like leaning forward, you know?
Yeah.
Watch
okay.
TV,
Okay.
and like scrapes all the skin off the top of my nose area.
Oh, you
know,
would've-
from like the bridge
shit.
of my eyebrows down
That
to
would
my
have been
nose.
like even worse if it got you just an inch more. Jeez.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like imagine the glass too.
If I had been closer, you could argue it could have crushed my like head and spine, you know?
Yeah. No, the thing that worries me is the glass. Like, because once that hits you,
Yeah.
it's going to shatter. And it's going to
And
go.
then the TV goes like in you. Like it just freaking blasts glass all over you.
I don't remember if the glass shattered because it was fell onto carpet.
Okay.
And it wasn't that high up, but I don't know because after it fell, obviously I'm not focusing on anything else. I'm like crying because I'm
scrapes
missing
some-
all the skin on my nose.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember that because then I got to eat, like, my parents like freaking out, and then I got to eat ice cream in my parents' room while I watched cartoons there, so that kind of calmed me down.
Like I'm
And
still watching cartoons. I'm
The
good.
whole thing like scabbed over, so like in my elementary or like preschool photos, Christmas photos, I have this huge scab.
Oh gosh.
on my nose.
You got to post these
Crazy.
sometime. I got to see these.
I'll see if I can find them and show them to you guys. I think like the physical picture exists somewhere.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so that you could argue, you know, maybe not.
Right. Felt like it at the time.
The other
sure.
time, though, I was on a Razor scooter, okay? And you know how they have the handlebars and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And they usually have like it was like the foam grips back in the day.
Yeah.
Mine had like worn off, so it was just the metal poles, okay? Now I had brought this scooter to my aunt's house, and my aunt has this, decently big backyard, and the patio is these large slabs of some sort of rock, and they would have this divot, like the rock section would end, and then another divot would start up where the next rock section would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where like all the tiles are. But they're big. They're like probably 5 feet wide. So I'm in the backyard, driving my scooter around, and it's just like da-dunk, da-dunk, da-dunk.
Yeah,
because the wheels would sink into it. The big what divots.
Yeah.
I'm going, and then all of a sudden, Razor stops.
Yep.
Falls to the ground, but it falls in such a way that the handlebars are sticking straight up, and I face plant on them.
Oh.
So I fall head for like the center of my forehead hits these handlebars, which are standing straight up, and I like immediately like start crying or something. I don't know what happened after that. But I remember looking in a mirror, and I had like a perfectly circular welt, like it felt like an inch off my forehead, but probably like a quarter inch or something. It was huge. And I just think, like, looking back, if that had, I don't know why my parents let me go out. Like, if that had gone a little bit lower, or if I had like hit the handlebars higher, it would have gone straight through my brain. Yeah. No question.
Like
through my eye. Through my brain.
Gosh.
I mean, oh my God.
Oh,
I think that's probably the closest to death I've ever been.
That's 1,000 ways to die material right there. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Gosh.
Jeez. My parents, I must have been trying not to think about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And now you ride longboards because they don't have handlebars.
Yeah.
No handlebars on that. I can't do anything.
Exactly.
It's a cushion, if anything.
I mean, we've done that a couple times where like you'll hit that bump. Or like
I hate that.
I think the first time I tried going over train tracks, I was like, "Oh, this will work out." Yeah, no.
It's like, nope, stop.
I'm a
Board
dumbass.
stops. I keep going. God, I
was rushing back to my dorm one time because my Xbox had gotten delivered, and I was just longboarding back real fast, and there's this big crack like the size of a longboard wheel in the middle of like a 4-way intersection. Hit it at like my top speed at the time. Absolutely eat it, like my water bottle goes flying, I get scraped up.
Every longboarder
in the middle
knows.
of this intersection, everyone's around, and I'm like, oh shoot! So I just get back on and keep riding.
I hate
Oh my God!
I've had that happen in that state too. It's like I fall, my board goes into the intersection, all the cars stop, even though they all have green lights. Everyone's looking at me. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna go get my board and walk.
You just die of embarrassment.
Yeah. It's wild.
And I was like dazed. I'm like, oh, where's everything? And then I see my water bottle, grab that, and
yeah. And you're like, okay, nothing happened. This is good.
Yeah.
Continue on.
I remember one time in particular. This was like when it was cold out. I remember falling a lot more when it was cold out for some reason.
Yeah.
But I was on near Beaumont Tower at Michigan State, randomly at night. I think. Don't know why. Neither of you two were with me, and I just ate shit. I ate shit like all week. That week or something like that. No. This is the last week I longboarded for the winter. So I ate shit a couple times. And this time I Beaumont at night, there's a couple people hanging around. I eat shit and I give up on life for like a solid 3 minutes. I just lay on the ground. But you know what the craziest thing is? People just didn't even come up to me. I fell in front of like 3 or 4 people and they just continued on with their day.
Whatever. To be fair, that's like pretty normal in Michigan State though.
Well, I feel like
this guy is just drunk.
I was like, why didn't anyone? I mean, it's okay. They might think I'm a weird dude just longboarding, but I'm like, I'm surprised no one just came up to ask, like, hey, are you all right? You just like ate shit and you're just not moving. Like no one came to see if I was okay. Yeah, such a weird time.
They didn't see the pool of blood just like
just
getting bigger around you.
Yeah.
Oh
God.
Did you guys remember when I built my electric longboard?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was
pretty dope.
So that was fun, but that thing would go fast enough to the point where I couldn't stop it.
That thing was like you oversized the motors or something on that. Like you gave too much power to that piece of equipment.
And so it would go fast enough to the point where like I normally to stop my longboard, I'll either balance on one leg and like drag my foot across the ground, or
Just
something
jump off.
similar to that.
Or do like the running
It's
stop.
easiest way. Yeah, and but on this thing at top speed, I couldn't do that. I had to wait for it to slow down.
Oh God, yeah, you would.
Yeah,
be
and that's right. And you had
wrecked.
the reverse function on it too, but the reverse was too powerful because I remember trying it, and it's
I
like,
don't think that worked.
Oh, it like immediately sends you back. Like,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
use it.
if you used it, it would have face planted you immediately.
Yeah.
like
It would
pressing the
just
front
thrown
brakes
you
on
off the board.
on a bike.
yeah.
It's like a physics
So-
question.
I remember one time I almost got hit by a car because I was going across an intersection and I couldn't stop.
Right, to
You know,
preface-
I saw the
to-
car and I'm like,
To preface,
I was like, no.
to preface this, I've seen you almost get hit by cars multiple times
Yeah.
on the longboard. But you,
I'm usually pretty good about it.
we have rode birds where you like are riding and then like scream as you approach this narrow like, path. You're like ah, as you, like,
Just start-
as you needle in the haystack this thing right through. There's like times where yeah, go ahead.
There was one time where I was riding the electric longboard and I had to turn off the road onto my exit essentially from the road, and I was going fast enough where I was turning, but I wasn't slowing down fast enough. And I thought I'm not going to make this turn, and there's a curb. Right?
Oh, I hate this.
So it gets to the point where if this is the curb, like I'm heading straight at the curb, and I'm turning, and then my wheels become parallel with the curb.
Oh yeah.
They hit there, and I'm like, I'm bailing. And I just dove over into the median, and luckily it was grass.
Oh God.
So I had to completely bail. I was going way too fast.
Jesus.
Oh.
We didn't wear helmets
was fun.
either. Yeah.
No, of course not.
I remember you would ride that because at Michigan State you have all those bike paths and those really scenic areas. I remember Sean, you would like flex every once in a while. Someone would be like going fast. You're like, I can go faster, and then you'd longboard next to him, and you'd see the guys like pumping right with it going fast. Sean's just zooming right next to him. This guy's like pumping, and you see Sean. He's like, I'm gonna go harder. And then Sean just
I
keeps
think
going
you
faster.
also
and he's
raced
just like,
a
what the
boosted
heck?
board once there too, because you had a couple people with boosteds.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, "Doo," and you're just gun it past them.
I think I won most of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your board was overpowered.
Way too. I haven't rebuilt it because it's too much power to contain.
Did it break?
But I
over
think I
9,000.
flexed a little bit only because I built the thing.
well, I mean that's
If I just had
that's,
bought a boosted board, I'd be like, whatever.
that's
But
fair.
because
You
I
built
it,
that.
I'm like,
I mean, you built that thing. That's pretty good, honestly. If you were that's just a good thing to put like on a resume. It's a great little project.
I think I had it on there for a little bit.
Honestly,
when was doing
I
engineering
would
stuff,
as an
like-
engineer, I would put it on my resume and be like, I built a boosted board myself and I made it better.
Yeah.
Suck it.
I actually used our technology center's 3D printers because I had printed a little box to contain all the electronics
Yeah,
and
like a
everything
housing.
underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because before that, it was just like, I think it was in
Taped
like
on.
some sort of cardboard box or something.
Yeah. I remember the cardboard box days.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it a cereal box?
It was so ratchet.
It might have been.
It's like Sean, if it started raining, Sean's like, "Oh, I gotta get back, gotta go home.
Yeah.
See ya."
Yep.
Yeah, I was always looking at the weather. I'm like, I can't take this today because it's
Yeah.
it's gonna
It's
kill
gonna
me.
melt and fall
God.
apart.
Yeah. I still have those batteries. Actually, I need to figure out how to dispose of them because I don't know how. They're
Are they
like
big?
really bad batteries. You can't just throw them in the trash. You need to like
Yeah.
they're like lipo batteries that are like they'll expand and then
Explode.
probably, which is
Mhm.
why I have them in like an airtight ammo crate essentially.
Oh.
So they
Yeah.
don't
So
like
they
if
don't
anything
just blow
happens,
up.
it's going to contain it, you know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But, yeah, that's one thing I don't know how
Yeah,
to do
I also
right now,
remember
but-
you used to flex on your board. You'd like lay down on it.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Like
Yeah.
the tricks.
Because you can on a board you can then start sitting down on it, and
Yep.
then you can just balance and plank on the board essentially.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was a ton of
you
fun.
guys were both into it. I never really got into it, but you guys were like, "Yeah, let's just sit on our boards as we go down this hill." And I'm like, "How do you stop? What if we have to stop? We can't
You don't.
stop."
You
don't.
have faith, man.
Well,
you
you can-
just
I
go.
rode that thing for a long time. One time sitting down,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I just had this. I think there's a certain area in our school that had 2 hills, so in succession. So I was able to ride down one, coast for a bit, and then catch the second one and keep going down.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
I got to the point where I could stand back up without having to touch the ground. I could just stand back up on the board.
Right.
Yeah, I could do the lay down, but I couldn't do the stand back up.
Yeah, I
That was
never.
fun.
I,
That
I
was
fe-
good times.
That was good times. I like the longboarding days. Longboarding is fun. Longboarding is a really fun sport if you ever want to get into it. I like it. I do like it more than biking. Biking's more a little bit more convenient, but longboarding's just got that. It's a good workout. It's just
Sense
fun.
of freedom, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love just carving, like going back and forth. It looks silly
Yeah.
whenever you carve and just do it. Everyone that doesn't longboard is probably like, you're just showing off, I guess. Like you're carving. No, it's just like legitimately fun. It's like you're surfing.
It feels really good.
Surfing the road.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
Do you guys remember throwing football back and forth to each other while we're riding?
Yeah.
longboards?
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I do. We got pretty-
That was super cool, but probably dumb because we're not looking at where we're going.
No, absolutely.
well, it
not.
was probably the middle of the night. I forget what time. It was probably
I
the middle of
think
the
it
night,
was-
so there's no one around.
It was during the
We
day.
definitely
I
had
think.
people around.
Yeah, I remember
At
that
one
was when
time
we
we
like
did.
were like we rode by people and they were like, "Do you smoke weed?" And we're like, "No, we
I
don't."
remember that. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Oh, speaking of near death, do you remember when you ate it on your bike one time, Colton?
Oh my god,
Like,
that was not
freshman
near
year?
death. That wasn't near death, but that was
Not
like
near death, but, like,
so. That was like
so
spontaneous event. That was like a glitch in the Matrix when that happened. That was
I don't
so
think I
weird.
do.
Remember, my bike. I was riding with Sean and you, Mike. We were both there. I was riding.
Yeah,
all of a
Mike
sudden,
was there, for sure.
It was like,
Was it the chain?
yeah, well,
No,
it was the
his
chain.
wheel
It was the
caved.
wheel. My wheel caved.
Oh,
so
that's
basically,
right. Yeah.
my bike stopped and I just went. I tipped over. I'm like, what
was-
just happened? I can't
You're
believe
looking
this.
around, you're like on the ground.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I was honestly mad because I was like, how did this happen? How did this happen? Like, what's going on? And yeah, my wheel caved. We bent it back, and I kept riding.
Yeah, I remember I
Yeah.
bent it back into shape.
Yeah, and then I just kept riding.
I was like, you should get that looked at.
Yeah, and I was scared because I was I think at the time I was trying to like pop little wheelies and I was lifting my front wheel off the ground, but lifted it a little too high, bent the wheel. The good old mongoose.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept trying to do wheelies on a longboard, and it never quite got there.
Gosh, the tricks on the longboard.
You can kind of.
Dangerous.
You have to have the right board for it, right? Like I think you've got. Because I got two boards. I had the one that was like the super long, like it's like
Yeah.
45 inches or something long, and I had like my shorter one that you can actually do some stuff on. But yeah, it's not like a traditional skateboard where you can do
Yeah.
ollies and stuff. I mean, you can, but it's
It's really hard.
yeah.
Right.
A lot more effort. I had a shorter board, and it had a tail, like a bit of a tail on both ends, so I was able to get that better like distance to try it. But
Yeah,
I
and
never
just like popping
managed
up on the curb and stuff like that. But I never did any like tricks and stuff like that.
it. Yeah.
I would have always loved to
Longboarding
have.
is a superior way to travel around college.
I think,
Yeah.
I think it's fun. It's way more fun than a bike. I do think it's less convenient, but it's really, really fun. And I
I mean,
encourage.
less convenient. You can take it into the classroom.
It's a heavy.
It's like
It's heavy though, man. Like, have you ever went into class and you're just carrying this big thing of wood, and then me and Mike are sitting there like, hey, we're in the middle row, and you're like, all right, well, I gotta hug this, like, shoulder press this longboard over my head, and then
Yeah.
sit next to you
It's
guys.
it's a workout, man. That's the whole point.
I
Dude,
think that's a great way to look at
literally
it, but
my
I think
quad-
it's very.
the quad that I push with, right? I ride goofy, meaning I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Like my quad is legitimately like stronger and more developed on that side.
your muscle,
Sure.
your quad, right?
Yeah.
It's stronger, more developed, but it's less convenient.
I don't know. I think it's more.
I think it's more convenient too. I don't have to
don't
deal
think
with
so.
bike racks. I can just carry it around. I mean,
Imagine
I
going
can
to
use
work.
it as a tray. I remember using it as a tray.
I use it as a
Yeah.
seat
Athletes
all the
off
time.
The
Yeah.
grime of your shoes. You don't know where your shoes
you
have
like
been.
you put a tray on top of it, but you like can carry it around and just like carry stuff on
I
it.
did use that a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I think if you have to carry this like 15 pound piece of wood everywhere,
15 pounds. What kind of longboard are you riding?
it's heavier than it should be for carrying it around everywhere. Imagine
It's no more than 8 pounds, probably.
imagine being in a city. Imagine being in Tokyo trying to longboard and then you having to lug that around if you go in somewhere. That's just
It doesn't work
inconvenient.
for all cities, but
Yeah.
college campuses definitely where it's at.
It is the best place. It's king. I'm just saying it's not.
Unless there's a ton
That's-
of hills, because let's be straight here, like a longboard
Hills would
on
be a
really high,
problem.
big hills is
It just
and like
does-
just doing it casually with like a backpack. Yeah, you ain't doing that
Yeah.
shit.
It does start to suck. Yeah, I remember.
We had a good combination of just enough hill.
Yeah. Yep. We had good Michigan land. Pretty not super hilly overall. Just nice spots where we could coast. Good stuff. Remember the first time I rode my longboard, because I bought it because you both had it, was at MSU. And man, I parked like 2 miles away from campus for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I rode it all the way to campus. And I kind of got lost on my way there, but it was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The best part though was when they'd pave the roads. I remember they had to
Oh,
redo some
the
of the roads there.
smoothness.
Oh, yeah,
and
they
it
were
gets like
so
the perfectly smooth. All right, and
smooth.
you have to take into account this is Michigan, right? We're talking about so literally the number one spot in the nation where roads are shit.
Yeah. Sidewalks are usually better than roads at Michigan
Yeah.
State.
It's Michigan roads are atrocious, and so when it's the freshly paved though, like the black tar asphalt,
Oh yeah.
just gliding along that, like you didn't even like hear or feel any of the bumps. It was just the best feeling ever. I remember
It is amazing. It's like
they
heaven.
Coast
redid
forever.
Yeah, they did redid Trowbridge, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna glide, and I could glide just like on a couple pushes, like down
Yeah,
the entire
so
thing, and it's like
nice.
just so flat. Ugh,
So nice.
it's so freeing too compared to a bike.
I remember the when you do that when they paved, and then I got new bearings.
Yep.
Oh, the reds.
They help the wheels go faster or turn
less
faster. And
friction.
if you get nicer ones, then it's less friction, so you can go further. And
Yep.
it was so nice.
It's
Being able
beautiful.
to just push twice, and I'm already at top speed, and I'm just coasting.
Yeah. Have you guys kept up with it? Do you guys still ride very much?
No,
I don't have that.
not at
opportunity.
all.
I don't either, man. It's sad.
It's a bummer, but
When we all get back
I
together,
will
we'll
say,
bring
though-
longboards.
yeah, that'd be cool. I will say that it is really cool to do longboarding on the boardwalk, like on a beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
It's
that.
very smooth, and it's like just a nice kind of area. So on like a nice sunny day, you just longboard down the boardwalk. Super cool. Luckily, I can do that being at the beaches in California here.
Yeah, that was like one of my
Yeah, Michigan.
favorite
The only boardwalks we have
spots.
are actually made of boards, and they're terrible to ride on.
Yeah, they are shit.
Yeah, our boardwalks are concrete. Very nice.
Very nice.
I wish.
Optimized.
And it's nice and warm. You don't have to deal with winter. Right now, it's like just middle of winter and snowy as all hell.
When it's cold after Christmas, I don't like the cold anymore. That's
Yeah.
that sucks. Well, like Christmas and snow I can deal with, but when it gets colder after snow happens, I'm like, please stop. Don't do this
Please.
anymore. Go.
February's the
Go
worst.
to 40. February sucks because you're way over it. You're 2 months over it. At December, I'm like, that's fine. Stop. You're done.
See,
January,
this is what
yeah.
I don't understand about you, Sean. Is like, I mean, you did grow up in an area
Please,
where there's
Who
enlighten
likes
me.
snow?
yeah.
Who
I don't
likes
know
snow?
how. Like, I'm with you. Like, I like mountains. And I like cooler places, but just like snow all the time, I would be like, this
Yeah,
is just
it's
Not all
nightmarish.
the
depressing,
time,
man.
but I like to have it for a couple months. Like a normal winter.
Yeah, but we have 6 months.
I
winter?
don't know about that,
No.
but
We can
It's-
get like
it's
November.
rough.
It's cold. April. It's cold. Even May. It's too cold. It's like 50 in May,
I don't know.
and it should be 70.
I think I just have lived most of my life in an always sunny area in California,
Mhm.
and it's just
The same.
monotonous and boring. So, I for some people that sounds great.
Blue
And
skies all
if
the time?
If people, in other states that have snow and they come in and then wow, this is so great. After decades of living here, not so great anymore to me.
Yeah,
I
just
think
the same.
that's why I would always get so excited when weather would happen. Because we don't
when it like
have-
rain in California
You
3
don't
days
have
out of the
weather.
year.
It barely rains in California. It never snows where I live.
Mhm.
So it's annoying. But I don't know. That's why I just liked it. Like there was so many times in Michigan where we'd have lightning storms. Like I hadn't remembered a lightning storm
Oh
in
yeah.
my area for at least 15 years.
really,
And we just had one semi-recently within the past year. But that was
Mm-hmm.
the first time I remember seeing lightning from my house within 15 years.
That's crazy.
and
yeah.
And when I was in Michigan, I was on the top floor of my building. So I had this great view sometimes of storms coming in, and I'd get, pictures of the lightning and everything. So much fun.
I'll give you that. I love lightning storms. They're cool. Like a nice humid day with a lightning storm, that gives me like butterflies in my stomach. Does weather ever give you guys that? Like that butterfly feeling? Just like get excited. Like, oh, the storms are brewing.
Oh yeah, it energizes me.
I had one experience when I was in the middle of Kansas one time.
A tornado was about to hit me.
Yeah.
It felt like I was driving across Kansas, right? And I could see a storm in my rearview mirror. I thought, well, that's not good. So I look at the weather and it's going to overtake me. So I pull over at one of the near, it's also getting towards the end of the day. So I pull over at like a hotel and I'm like, hey, I need to get a room. Storm's coming. Like, it already started raining, a little sprinkling at that point.
Yeah.
And the guy said, I didn't know this, but in Kansas, you have to be 21 to book a hotel room.
That's garbage.
That's pretty dumb. And I'm like 18 or 19 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one here, dude. Like, can I have a room? He's like, sure.
He's like so just weird. Trolling you. He's like, sorry. Yeah. Like, fuck off.
But I get a room and everything, and then the storm hits, right? And it's probably the loudest lightning I've ever experienced.
Lightning that wakes you
loudest
from
thunder,
your sleep.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was mainly before I went to bed, and I was in my room like watching YouTube or something. Then it started getting really bad, so I go outside with a camera because obviously I want to see all this weather. And there's an awning and everything, so I'm not exposed out in the thing. But I get out and I'm like by my car recording things. And I have this on camera where it's like kind of the sky opens up above me. The entire world turns white. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like the car alarms go off and everything.
Oh yeah.
Boom! Like everything. It felt like, the earth shook for a second.
Oh yeah.
And then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go back in my room.
Yeah.
Where did it strike?
I think it must have hit something very nearby. I didn't see the strike because it was out of my field of vision. Mm-hmm. But everything turned white, so I know it was at least close enough where it was pretty close.
So add that to the near-death experiences there.
And then I went back in the room, and then the power went out. So
nice.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, that was a great time.
You ever seen those, like stared at a wall cloud or watched a tornado?
I've never seen
a tornado.
You've never seen a tornado?
Nope.
I feel like that's not a common occurrence.
Yeah, they're fairly common in Michigan.
They are, but like I feel like you have to go out of your way to see them still.
I've seen like dust devils.
Yeah, dust devils are.
You see, like the little tornadoes that sometimes pop up, where like the trash spins. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We loved them in kids in California because then if there's leaves, we'd go run into them, and then all the leaves would be flying around us.
Yep, and you'd be trying to be Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that was cool.
No,
but no, I've
seen an actual tornado, and like it was far off, but I was like, oh shit, that's a tornado.
If I saw a tornado, I'd be like, no, we're gonna go downstairs.
Just jump out of your car and be like, I'm out.
Yeah, outrun the tornado.
One of my earliest memories was of a tornado. It was at I know this because I left this house when I was probably 3. And I remember looking out the window and not so much seeing the tornado itself, but you ever seen the sky? Well, you have you seen
the sky?
Have you seen like the sky when there's a tornado?
Is it like really, really dark?
It's really dark, but then it turns really green, like this eerily weird green color.
I've heard of this.
I've never seen it though.
Yeah. And I remember, the tornado must have been really close because I remember it like the most vibrant green. I can like just
the aliens.
Really, yeah,
Dang,
right.
That's so
it
cool.
It was almost like a UFO but it was a tornado, or maybe it was a UFO. Who knows? But it was this extremely eerie green color, and then it was like an orange too because it was close to sunset at the time, so it was like this combination of the two. It was nuts. It may just be my memory, playing tricks on me. You know how that does that, but that was a weird experience. And also seeing the wall cloud. I remember I was in Colorado and seeing a wall cloud just coming down right above me, which if you guys aren't aware, it's like kind of like the pre-tornado. Now I wasn't in an area where it would like fully form a tornado because I was kind of like on the edge in Denver, right? So it's kind of on the edge of the mountains. But yeah, that was spooky, especially like right above you and you're like looking into the center of this formation.
That's crazy.
You can ask your girlfriend about it. She'll know exactly what a wall cloud is.
Yeah, my girlfriend went storm chasing before, but she didn't even see a tornado, which is why I'm surprised that you have seen one, Mike, because like she chased them and she never got to see one.
What?
Dang.
Which
That's
is
so
weird.
sad.
Yeah, I know.
Do you guys want to go off the deep end real quick?
Sure. I don't like the
Your
kiddie pool. I don't
trepidation.
need the kiddie pool anymore. Give me
Well,
the deep end.
Going back to what Michael said about aliens.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
You guys saw the recent thing with the government announcing that they have footage of UFOs.
Yeah.
I want to specify though, not UFOs, but just things that are not identified. That's the
Correct.
definition.
It could be a lot of
Unidentified-
things.
It was an
Flying
identified
objects.
aerial phenomenon, UAF or UAP or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys think?
Aliens?
Because I have opinions.
I don't think aliens are around Earth or are interfering with us right now. I think they exist.
Do you?
I think they
so,
exist
so
for sure. By a statistic
base thing. Do you believe in that intelligent life exists out there?
Yeah, I think
I believe so,
statistically.
too.
I think statistically,
Yeah.
it would make sense.
There's 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, and there's 100 billion galaxies.
Alone.
Yeah,
Gotta-
and there's 100 billion galaxies, right, in the
Yeah.
known universe.
Gotta
right?
think it
So-
exists. I want them to.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
also of the opinion that there's 100% intelligent life out there at probably any other stage of development, whether they're far and more advanced than us or primitive.
Yeah, like
Something's out there somewhere.
microorganisms. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think intelligent life is out there somewhere.
Sure. I would.
Like not even microorganisms.
I'd go for that.
But this thing with the UFOs that they released, I think people are not comprehending what this is. You know, like they're overestimating what this is. You know?
They're making it into something bigger than what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's these things that we have footage of, whether or not they're actually things. Like what you said, Michael, they're a phenomenon. So some of the things, honestly, could just be something on the glass of the camera, you know, and how it moves.
Mhm.
It's so weird how everyone kind of went crazy about it. But at the same time, I think it's silly to not acknowledge that there can be the possibility of it, you know, of some sort of spacecraft in our atmosphere. You know, like you
Right.
Colton, you don't think you don't think anything of that nature is around Earth at this point.
I don't think so. I don't think they've interacted with humans or anything. I think all the UFOs that we've seen are just like aircraft from other countries that they flew over
Yeah.
here or something like that, something of that nature.
Mhm.
It'd be cool if they were nice and they came down, but that's a
That
whole
would be
other
nice.
that's a whole other topic of if that would actually, what would happen if that actually happened.
There's actually a really cool
The
set
Mass
of
Effect.
stories. It's it was kind of a thing during the summer that I watched a lot on. I think they're both like Reddit posts, but also they'll do YouTube videos on it too. It's Humans Are Monkeys, I think is the. There's also Humans Are Space Orcs too, which is actually really interesting too.
All right.
But it's basically like taking an anti-human perspective. So like it's usually the perspective of the aliens, interacting with humans, right? And a lot of times they're like, humans are like really weird, and like they try to like break down human society from that alien's perspective, right? So
Yeah.
why do humans do this, right? And a lot of times the aliens in these stories, right? I mean, it's all fan fiction, but are like totally different, right? There's like this one I remember reading of all the aliens were actually herbivorous, right? So we're like one of the few carnivores that actually became intelligent. So like their way of dealing with society, right, is more akin to what a herbivore like a deer would
Yeah.
act like on Earth, right? And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't understand humans. And so it's really interesting to see that perspective. Another one that really comes to mind is like, I think it was one of the first ones I read on it, is like it's a scenario of humans first first contact, right? But they're circling around Jupiter, like this is, like 2300, so it's like, oh, we've got like some space stuff, right? We're exploring the solar system, the solar system,
Right.
and they had this first contact with like an alien like bubble looking thing, but turns out that the creatures on this, like, they have hydrogen for blood, so that's literally the closest they can get to the sun without boiling away.
Right.
And they have to have like this special system, whereas humans, right, they're observing our craft, and it's like it just heat is just falling out of it, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, how do you guys survive? It's like, oh, they have a completely different biology that has to exist at like negative 50 degrees Kelvin, or 50 Kelvin. So it's just a really neat thing to explore, because it goes like way off the deep end on some of that stuff.
I'm sure the possibilities
I love,
are endless. Yeah.
Yeah. I love sci-fi for that reason, like all there's so many books that are made about either aliens that are in them, or they created us, or they didn't, or all these, there's so many different possibilities that exist that that's why I just kind of like reading about them, like there's so much, like science fiction is awesome because of that.
Yeah.
Because of
all the possibilities,
different things that can happen.
I've been really into the
not all are,
Expanse
like,
recently.
Yeah, there was this really good book called Rama, Rendezvous with Rama. It's a book series. There's 3 of them, and it's a weird book series, but it's a really old sci-fi. It's like this: one day, humans are just chilling on Earth, and then we see this object enter the solar system, and it's like a perfect cylinder.
Oh, nice.
But it's massive. It's like 46. No, it must be more than that. It's like a couple 100 miles long.
Yeah. Okay.
And the circumference is another 100 miles or so, like 50 to 100 miles.
Right.
So it's huge, and this thing just comes in to the solar system, like does a loop around the moon, and then leaves.
Yeah, something like that I could see happening, and people are like, what's going on?
Like, what the heck?
That would be funny if that actually happened.
Yeah, and it's just like a normal probe for whatever species it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
What was that thing? It was like Oumuamua. Is that the name of it? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. It's Hawaiian because it's detected by the Hawaiian satellite or Hawaiian station. But it's like that extrasolar object that came through. It was like it was long and cylindrical. That came through the solar system and then just left.
Really?
That was.
I not heard
people
about
were
that.
like freaking out about it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's an alien probe or
failed
something.
missile launch.
Alien,
just flying.
Alien ICBM. No, but yeah, I remember everyone freaking out about that. I thought it was really cool, just kind of hearing the theories. Most likely, it's just
love reading
a chunk
about,
of space rock.
Stuff we don't know. Like you've heard of like the blip, not the Marvel one, but like the ocean one.
The blip.
No, not heard this. Okay, so there's these like deep water probes that just kind of listen, for sounds. I think they're for detecting
Earthquakes,
underwater earthquakes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So they recorded this noise. There's like 2 or 3 noises that have been recorded that don't correspond to anything that we know about, and it's so weird to listen to them because they have the audio. You can just listen to it.
Oh,
and it's just this noise that you think, what could produce this at this depth? Because noise, I think, I'm probably wrong about this, but noise in the ocean doesn't really travel up and down. It travels horizontally. So
I don't know.
Or it has a hard time going up and down, so it's more likely to travel horizontally. So they have probes different depth. And so that's why if you hear something at certain depth, it's probably originating from that depth or near that depth. So this is stuff where like nothing big can live, yet they heard this sound like across the entire Atlantic Ocean. like on both sides of the ocean. So it's so weird. It could be nothing, but it could be something.
Yeah,
we have no idea what it
could be a
is.
magma displacement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of species that isn't it known that we have, there are species that we haven't like discovered yet, really, really deep in the ocean. I think that's a
there
thing.
must be.
I think that's,
I love
people are quite confident
deep
about
water
that.
stuff. I never want to go to the deep ocean.
Nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel.
But man, is the stuff down there super cool to look at.
Super weird.
And disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What also terrifies me too is like just the colossal depths. Because the ocean is so deep.
Yeah.
So deep. Our largest mountain is underwater.
Oh yeah. Like and the coolest thing too
Everest.
is like I watched a video recently of they did a comparison of all of like shipwrecks in like the depths, and there's like a bunch that are on the surface, right? Only like a couple meters. They had like the Costa Concordia or whatever, and then you have the Titanic, and then they zoom out of like the actual depths of it, and it's just gigantic. The Titanic's at like 2,200 meters. So
oh really? Jeez.
Yeah. So
I love the planet
thousands of
Earth
miles.
about like the deep ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, I need
And
to
I've
watch
seen
it.
more crazy stuff since then. The just the look of life at the
Down
bottom of
there.
the ocean
It's
is
wild.
so bizarre.
Yeah,
To
they
how
look
we
like
think
aliens.
things should look like.
They're the aliens. We have them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like there's transparent fish down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or the fish that has its eyeballs like pointed up, and it's got like a transparent like windshield. So I can like look up. Yeah.
Something's crazy. Or the type of octopuses, like have you seen the one that has like it's a bulbous top and then it has these very thin like needle-like legs that come out. And they're like they're solid. And then dangling from them are actual like tentacles. So it's this weird spider-looking thing that is an octopus. And that deep down, you have no concept of size. So when they tell you the size, you go, "Oh my god, thing's huge."
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can look it up.
I know they have. I mean, the even like the little fish from like Finding Nemo with the light on its head to lure fish in. That's wild too. The fact that it developed like that, just development of animals like that is pretty nuts.
Or the tube worms that literally live off the oceanic vents.
Yeah, that's wild. Like they live. That's nuts.
Dude, life's amazing, man.
It's crazy.
Life's amazing. I'm happy to live.
Now, one thing I'm really intrigued by is the thought of like, are you guys familiar with some of the Jovian moons in Europa?
Some of like the more interesting ones, where
But explain it.
Yeah.
So Europa is one of the four like major they're Galilean moons because they're discovered by Galileo. But
How do you do that? How
I
does
know,
a
right?
dude back then farthest over the side tangent, but some of the people that discovered early things blow my mind.
yeah, it is.
Either
With a tiny little
how
telescope.
bored must you have been?
I mean,
man.
I
Sorry,
stare
okay.
at the sky
Yeah,
for
go
hours.
ahead.
But yeah, they're brilliant. But you got Callisto, Ganymede, Io, and Europa. And Europa is like this big ice ball, but they hypothesize that underneath it is actually a liquid ocean due to like the tidal stretching,
Core
like
eating up and everything.
yeah. So like because Jupiter's just gigantic, right? It will rip and tear at it. Like Io is the best example. Which is like a super volcanic moon because it's just been ripped apart from the tidal forces, same forces that the moon exerts to create tides on Earth. But so Europa, they think it's got like a liquid water down there, right? So imagine if there's actually life on that.
Yeah, crazy, weird life.
where there's
the
water,
same as our deep ocean,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
Could
it could
happen.
replicate the same things because there's these theories that life was, first constructed or first created, at the very depths of the ocean near those like geothermal vents.
Yeah,
right?
or
Like
you
the
could
first
use.
little bacteria kind of things.
Yep.
But imagine if something like that could exist on Europa. I mean, I doubt there's any super intelligent life there, right? But
Right, we would have
maybe find some
caught that.
bacteria there.
2001: A Space Odyssey actually goes to Europa and has a very similar, like, they write the book as if that were so,
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a pretty
really?
cool read. Yeah. It's like the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
2002.
2002, 1 year later.
There's 2 or 3 books. There's 2001, 2030, and then 2080, and I think 3001.
Whoa, 3001. We're past
It's
the...
pretty cool.
I've only seen the movie.
The books are really cool, and the movie is stellar. Ha ha
Yeah.
ha.
Ah, wow.
Damn it, Sean, with the dad jokes.
Oh man, I love those puns.
Oh. Yeah.
I think on that note, we might wrap up this podcast for the day.
Yeah, it's a
I like
late
how
one.
we started out with
lads.
near-death experiences and ended at aliens on Europa.
Man, sometimes you get
New life.
existential. Yeah,
Aliens.
near
Yeah.
death. Got to get a little existential afterwards.
I feel like I learned a lot about you guys this episode with our
Yeah.
near-death
Yeah, I
experiences.
know.
That's super cool.
You know, you grow closer once you know how your friends almost died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By
Luckily,
jumping
we
off
never
a bike.
almost died together. That would have been bad.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe one day.
All right. Well,
No, don't
this
say
has
that,
been,
Colin.
this has been Almost a Podcast. One day we'll get there. Thanks
One day.
you all for listening.
All right, see ya.
Thanks,
Bye. Bye. Cue outro music. Bye.
Bet.
God damn it, Colin. It's like, taper it off.
Hey everyone, it's Colton here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Almost a Podcast. If you liked what you heard, please consider supporting us by leaving a review and following or subscribing to our podcast channel on whatever platform you might be listening on. Right now, the boys and I are planning on a weekly release schedule to post a new episode every Wednesday, so hopefully I'll see you all back then. Peace.